Don't mind that. The cat's coming apart. That wasn't me. But no stars, someone else came and mess with it. We got it back up and running. Tahoe came to the rescue on this one. Here it is. We got a 95 little step side. What do they call this? The fucking Nalgona bitch got ass. Anyways, again, the Mustang is a work vehicle because the Tahoe transmission is broken, but whatever. So here we go. This is how to properly set time on a 95 and earlier TBI 350. So this customer had someone come by and do a tune-up, and I appreciate it because this is like almost like my legit first customer doing my mobile gig. Can't do it because my Tahoe's broken, but I'm in the Mustang. So they did a tune-up on it, and after they did wires and spark plugs and whatever, and whoever did the spark plug needs to go back to school because that's really thin. So I need to re-gap them. How to properly do it is, one, you need to see where your rotor is at. You need to make sure where top dead center number 1 is at. But here we go. I'm gonna show you how to do it the proper way, and see if we can get this thing to zoom in. What you got to do first is you have to set right there. You see the timing groove that's on the crank pulley. That right there is next to the 0 degree mark. So that is step 1, crank pulley. Make sure it's on timing mark. Step 2, make sure on the TDC stroke. TDC stroke, that don't even make sense. Make sure piston number 1 is at top dead center. So I got my little Harbor Freight deal right here, and that's the top of the piston. So we are on top dead center, not bottom dead center. Third thing, the rotor. You see how the rotor is almost facing over here to this cylinder? The rotor actually has to be, I gotta remove the distributor and move it and face it towards number 1. Small block 350, all small block 350s. The rotor, as you can see right there, if you don't know what the rotor is, this guy right here, the rotor needs to be facing number 1. This guy right here. So I'm getting spark because before I came over, I went to come look at this the other day. I took the spark plug out, had him turn it over, and it shocked the hell out of me. So we're getting spark. So the coil distributor and all that kind of stuff in there, and the wires should be okay. You know, granted, I only checked it on 1, but they should all be fine. The injectors, when I was looking at the injectors, when I had him crank it over, they were firing. So hopefully all this is just a mistimed distributor, and we can get it back on the road running. He got this thing for $500, and dude, $500 is not bad. I'm not gonna show a license plate because you know what it is, but it's clean. It is super freaking clean. You know, paint, whatever, but this OBS stuff is starting to come, and it's a really big popularity right now. So I'll retime the distributor, I'll get everything put back together, then I'll attempt to turn it on, and we can go from there. Because right now it doesn't turn. It just, you know, imagine a small block 350 starting. Yeah. That's all it does. So we'll get to it. All right. So freaking what I didn't know was that the last guy that was in here actually shaved this. So I wasn't really getting spark all the way where I was supposed to be getting spark. But new distributor pointed to number 1. The timing mark down there is where it's supposed to be. All right, it is the next day. You know, this thing wasn't running, but the distributor that we had, it was all kinds of messed up from whoever else worked on it. But you got to have the rotor pointing to number 1. Remember your TDC mark down on there. Then before you go ahead and start it, and before you start adjusting your timing, this guy right here, you got to unplug that. This is what I guess controls, advances or retards the timing based on what, you know, load condition or whatever you're doing to the car. That disconnected, have your timing light hooked up, and these on the 350 TBIs, they are set to 0 degrees. So right there I can show you that on any timing light you're gonna get, you can see right here, advanced degrees. If you have a car that you're going to set it and it's 10 degrees advanced, you know, you can set it, but these are at 0. So I'm going to show you, or bring it over there. So with the timing light, you know, hook it up to your battery, set your dial to 0. It's kind of hard for me to do it right now. I'm in the middle of doing things. And with that plug disconnected, it'll start flashing over there on the crank pulley. And every time the TDC indicator crosses it, you can see right there, you'll be able to get, you know, 840 is the very bottom one. So that's when you're gonna come over here, start playing with your distributor, and you'll see the line move back and forth. And you got to remember, your dial is always set to 0. Set the dial at 0 to whatever the manufacturer spec is. Start moving around. That's it. Plug it back in, turn the key off, connect that back up, and this is it. This is it running. Well, it's off right now, but yeah, it runs right after. And we just took it around the block for a test drive, and it's solid. Pretty I'm not gonna lie, I was getting frustrated yesterday, but that's because we had a bad distributor, so that's why we're doing the video the next day with the 2-door. So we're gonna get right here, show you that it turns on. Half tank, 12 volts. There we go. Turns on. And we're good. We're gonna send this one on down the road. So yeah, the reason why I was having issues with it yesterday, I mean, I set everything the way it was, but come to find out, what had happened previously was they replaced the cap but didn't replace the distributor or the rotor, and the guy that came in here previously shaved part of the rotor, so I wasn't getting sparks. So even though you got a new cap, you're still not getting the correct amount of spark, or is not hitting all 8 other tabs on the rotor or on the cap as it should. So got all that freshened up, brand new distributor and wires. We left the plugs in there. The plugs are a little fouled out, but it's working right now. They're kind of getting cleaned up. The cat's plugged up. You heard it. It was making noise, so that's why I was running a little, you know, a little off sometimes. And the plugs need to be cleaned up a little bit. You know, we really should replace the plugs, but this guy, we just left it alone. But that's it. That's how you set timing on a, you know, 95 and older 350 TBI, really any small block 350. Rotor pointing at number 1. Previously, the rotor, if you look at it before, the rotor was kind of pointed more this way. I finally got it pointing out to number 1, right over here. Reset everything, took it all apart. Now you do have to remember that you're going to be on TDC compression. So what I did is I took the valve cover off here and looked at the 2 rockers that are right here. Once you start coming up on the compression stroke, these 2 rockers are going to be loose. They could be shaking around. You can hear them click and clack because they're on the base circle of the cam. Bring that indication mark all the way up to 0 to where it is, right at top dead center. I even got my little camera to put it in there and make sure. These were loose. Piston was at the top. Set your rotor. Make sure your timing's there. Bolt everything back in. Disconnect that wire. Turn it on. Start adjusting. And that's it. It's pretty simple. We are back, and this car is back on the road. This car sat here for 2 months. And I came over and look at it. Day 2, we are back up and running. But we got the 2-door. We got the 2-door. Oh my God. Okay, that is it. That is all. And I will see you guys on the next video.